Welcome to Global Tax Talk. I'm Will Morris, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Teresa Owusu-Adjei. Teresa, welcome.
Thank you.
It is great to have you here. So, Teresa, you talk with lots of different companies across lots of different sectors, across the world, across many geographies. So you have this unique sort of bird's eye view of what's going on. And what are the pain points that seem to be most significantly impacting tax executives, but also the board, the C-suite? What's going on there?
So a couple of things, right? And they're sort of related to each other. So pain point number one is that there's just a lot going on, as you talk about here each week in the tax world. And there's lots of obligations, there's new ones coming on stream, including Pillar 2, etc. So just the ability to cope with the overwhelming nature of the obligations and to be compliant with them can kind of be quite overwhelming as well. So that's pain point number one. And then pain point number two is that businesses are changing. So if you think back to our CEO survey, 3/4 of CEOs told us that over the last year, they have done something significant to change how they capture value, etc. And that, 45% of them say their business won't be viable in 10 years' time unless they do something significant in how they capture client value, etc. So for the tax function, they need to be at that table. There are tax consequences of that. And they need to have the time, the space, etc., to be that strategic business advisor to that kind of business model reinvention that's happening. How can you do that and meet the needs of your C-suite exec when actually you're kind of overwhelmed by the volume of compliance obligations? So it's those are your two pain points, really.
Right. And those are real pain points as well. So look, we talk a lot about AI and leveraging AI and the possibilities for many organizations, and some tax functions have begun to implement that, in part to deal with the compliance you've talked about. But how can AI help tax, do you think?
A lot.
That's good news. Right?
That's the good news, right? So I think it's very much what you just said, Will. So it's when you look at pain point number one around the compliance obligations and the volume of it, you've really got to look at automation, AI, and then Gen AI, which are three different things in terms of automating as much task as possible. Clients are telling us that data is a really, really big thing for them. So quality data, access to data, the way that the data kind of eases through, their process. So actually being able to automate that, clean up the data, make it easier through the compliance process, I think it's going to be the biggest benefit of AI for our clients. And what they're telling us is that they're actually beginning to do quite a bit of experimentation with that as well.
Good. That's interesting. I was somewhere the other day, and this old phrase now seems old, it's probably only 5 or 10 years old. This, phrase, data is the new oil.
Yeah.
And you think, well, it kind of, but, there's two stages there. The first is you have to, drill for the oil, or in this case, collect the data. And then the second is you have to refine it for the data to mean anything at all.
Yeah, 100%. And there is just for our clients that if they cannot really get their arms around the data and sort that out, they've just got no chance of meeting obligations, but then actually being that strategic business advisor as well. So that's real focus for our clients, and it's real focus for conversations that we're having with them as a result.
Sure. Okay, so looking just sort of slightly further into the longer term, what are the priorities that are shaping the tax function's vision, and how are companies sort of trying to begin to build out a roadmap for that? What does all that look like?
So interestingly, I think what we're beginning to understand from clients is that it goes back to your first question around the pain points. So what do I need to do to deal with these issues around compliance, etc., in order to free up the time to be able to be able to be that strategic business advisor, right? And so that roadmap begins to look at how do you free up the time, do you have the right people?
Right.
Because actually the traditional tax skills that you and I came into the tax world in may not necessarily be the skills that tax functions need today.
Right.
And so clients are telling us that actually technologists are probably just as important to them as, traditional tax folks like you and I. I'm bringing you in. I just saw your face. I'm bringing you into my world of traditional tax.
I'm delighted to be into your world of traditional tax.
So that roadmap is, okay, who are the right people do I need going forward? What is my data strategy?
Right.
What is my AI strategy? Do I actually have the ability, particularly as a multinational, to be able to do all of this myself?
Right.
So what's my outsourcing strategy or co-sourcing strategy? What's the technology that underpins all of that? And then how do I make sure that I'm embedded in that reinvention that the broader business is going to be doing over the next few years or so?
That is a lot to think about. I mean, basically, how do I manage today and how do I manage tomorrow at the same time?
Yeah, very much so. And in fact, when I sort of think about it, it's very much that sort of flying today's plane, but like, where's that new plane? What does the new plane need to be? What's the destination that it needs to go to? It's a unique position for our clients.
Right. No, lots and lots to talk about. Look, Teresa, thank you so much for joining. This is great. And we will definitely get you back to talk more about this. But thank you very much. Good. And thank you for joining us. And come back again so that you stay global tax ready.